Hello everyone, welcome to ConBooks. In this video, let's talk how to issue new shares or transfer equity shares by means of listing. So-called listing actually refers to a mechanism that sellers can list their sale order in a specific book of orders so as to enable the potential buyers or potential investors can provide a counteroffer or can provide their limited buy order accordingly. And the system will match all those orders together so as to make the deal done and closed. Therefore, typically, it is a one-way market model that we introduced into the system of ConBooks. So why we did not introduce the two-way market model? That's because currently we only introduce Ethereum as the instrument to pay for the equities consideration. And as you may know that the price of Ethereum or the Ethereum exchange rate against the fiat currency is not so stable. So we cannot ensure the value of a specific buy order in different time point. Therefore, we only introduce this one-way market model into the ConBooks system now. Well, maybe when we introduce some stable coin as the paying method for the consideration of equity shares, we will consider to design a two-way market model into ConBooks. And first of all, please consult the legal expert of your jurisdiction with respect to the securities laws as well as the anti-money laundering laws, etc., so as to ensure that all the procedures and the process of listing can be arranged in a legal way. Let's search out the target company from the system. And for this time, the target company's registration number is 9, so we input number 9 here and click search and click this link button so as to go into the main page of number 9 company. And we also name that company as ConBooks DAO LLC. And all the listing procedures actually will be controlled by the listing rule that's set out in the shareholders agreement. So let's jump to the Register of Constitutional Documents to have a look of the listing rule that currently has been set out in the shareholders agreement. And here we can see that this is the shareholders agreement that is in force to governing the corporate governance behaviors of this company. And let's click this link button to enter into the panel of the shareholders agreement. And we can see that the listing rules are available and we can click. So this panel is quite familiar to us, which means that this shareholders agreement can have several link rules to define different scenario of listing. And currently we only have the first one. And the first listing rules is ranked or is sequenced with the sequence number of 1024. And let's click this button to open and to see the detailed attributes of this listing rule. And the first attribute is class of share, which defines what will be the class of shares that are subject to this listing rule. And currently it is set out as number 4. So the shares with the class of number 4 will apply this listing rule in the issuance process or transfer process by means of listing. And currently there are 3 different classes available has been issued in this company. And the first class was issued to the founding member, and the second class was issued to angel investors, and the third class was issued to the Series A investors. As per the shareholders agreement, Class 4 is intended to be issued to some investors by means of listing. And the next attribute is title of issuer, which means that during the process of issuance, new shares, and who will have the authority to click the button so as to trigger the legal behavior on behalf of this legal person of a target company to issue new share. And currently, this authority has been assigned to the chairman of board. So only the user who have the title of chairman of board, then this user can trigger the certain API to issue new shares by means of listing. And next attribute is max total par. So this attribute defined the max amount that can be issued under class 4 by means of listing. So the total amount shall be equal or lower than 5 million. And the next attribute is title of verifier. So we need to have a explain about the identity verification requirements for the potential investors. This attribute is prepared to satisfy certain legal requirements in connection with the real name verification and confirm requirements that may have in respect of anti-money laundering legal requirements or KYC, know your client requirements, or some requirements about the public securities transaction, etc. And please consult with a legal expert to know that what kind of requirements with respect to the real name check and confirmation. And then this title of a verifier means that only the user who hold the title of director of this company that have the authority to confirm or to approve certain user can be recognized as a potential investor in the listing process, no matter it's in a listing for initial offer or for a listing process for transfer certain equity shares. So the next attribute is max quantity of investors. This parameter is very important. It's crucial to define whether a process shall be categorized as a public offer. So you also need to consult with the legal expert of securities law to ensure that whether this kind of max quantity will be deemed as a public offer process so as to the company needs to filing any documents to the authority to obtain a prior approval for such public offering, or it can apply some certain execution or some certain exemption terms of the securities, or it shall be deemed as a private placement, etc. Please consult the legal expert. But whatsoever, for this listing rule, the max quantity of the investors shall be lower or equal to 10, which means that the company intentionally designed the listing process to be as a private placement process, not as a public offering. The next one is the ceiling price, which defined the top price of sales order that can be listed in the list of orders. If selling order with the ask price higher than this threshold, and then such sale order cannot be allowed by the system to be listed. Next one is a floor price. This floor price defines the threshold of a sale price of a sale order that can have to list it in the list of orders or on the book of orders, which is $2 per share. So if a sale order have a ask price lower than $2 per share, and then such sale order will not be accepted by the system to be listed on the list of orders bulletin. And next attribute is off price, which defines the lowest threshold for the transaction price or for a sale order for transfer the equity shares to be listed on the book of orders or on the list of orders in COMBOX, which is $0.1 per share, which is 10 US cents per share. And this is the lockup days, because in some jurisdiction there might be some requirements for the investors to limit it at the lowest time or as the shortest period that the investor needs to hold a acquired equity share in hand and be locked from transfer this target share to the market. So you have to hold a certain number of shares that are acquired today for at least 24 hours, and then you can resell it to other investors. Now, this is some jurisdiction will have this similar requirement. So please consult with the expert. And the next attribute is voting weight, which defines that the voting weight will attached to class number 4 to be issued by means of listing. So this is 100%, so it's quite normal to other classes of the share. And in the company, only class number 1 that have a special voting weight, which is 18 times comparing with other classes. So that is provided or assigned to the founding member who will have more control power comparing other person. So that all the attributes has been defined in the listing rule number 1024. And all the listing behaviors of the company will be regulated by this internal listing rule. So for the next step, let's switch to the list of orders section and have a look of how to control the process of a listing. And first of all, we need to select a proper class of share subject to the listing process. As we have explained, according to the listing rule, only the class number 4 will apply the listing rule that we have defined in the shareholders agreement. And first thing, we need to register investors. So we have explained that in a listing process, the potential buyer or potential investors who might be the member of this subject company needs to disclose identity of the investors to the company or to the public. It depends on whether it's a private placement or a public offering. So the investor who want to attend the listing process needs to apply to register themselves as a potential investor with the company. So suppose that we can see that in the down part of the panel, there is a investors list and has listed totally 4 investors has already registered with the company as potential investors, which are user number 1, user number 5, user number 6, and user number 4. So suppose that there are several other investors who like to attend the listing process for issuing new shares, and then he or she needs to firstly apply to register as an investor. So let's switch to user number 2 as the one that would like to filing this application to be registered as the investor, and then we can fill in this group representative as number 2 because user number 2 is independent. There's no other affiliated party will attend this listing process. And here we can fill in the hash value of the documentation describing the identity of user number 2 here. Therefore, we can establish a hash pointer so that each and every interested party can verify that whether the documentation disclosed by user number 2 to certain approved right holder is correct or not. In case the documents provided by user number 2 to the company is fake or not, and then we can claim certain rights against the user number 2. Well, for the time's reason, we only input a simple figure as number 2 to represent a hash value of the identity files of user number 2. And let's click register. And then we can see that MetaMask will pop up and we confirm. And then we can see that a new record was added into this investors list. But all those investors state is still pending, which means that all the applications actually subject to approval of the verifier. We have already read that based on the voting rule, only director will have the authority to approve certain investor to enter into the listing process. And then we have 5 potential investors has applied. Okay, let's switch to user number 3. and to file the application to register as a potential investor to the listing process. So we need to update this group representative number as number 3 and simply input the number 3. Actually, we shall say that this hash value should establish by calculating on the actual submitted data of user number 3 to the company. Here we simply input number 3 to represent a hash value that calculated based on the identity documentation filed by user number 3 to the company. And then let's click the register button and confirm. All the current member of this company has already registered as a potential investor, and also 2 external investors, user number 5 and user number 6 was also filing the application to be registered as a investor. And then we need to switch to another account who has the title of director so as to approve those applications accordingly. In the previous video, we have shown that how to elect the chairman of the board in Kanbox system. And for this company, user number 1 is also the chairman of the board, who also belongs to the group of directors. Therefore, user number 1 shall satisfy the requirements to be as a verifier of the investor's registration process. And then let's select another choice to approve certain user to be the investor. Okay, so first we need to input user number that we would like to review and approve. Maybe firstly we shall input ourselves to be the qualified investor for the listing rules. And then let's click approve, and we can see that, okay, MetaMask pop up and we confirm. So let's see that currently the state of user number 1 in the investors list has been changed from pending into approved, which means that in the coming listing process, user number 1 can attend as a qualified investor so as to provide their limited buy orders to make the deal done. And then let's prove the rest 5 different users one by one. So it's very quick. Due to the blockchain we are using is a testing net, so the feedback and mining speed of this testnet is very quick, comparing with the mainnet or some other public blockchain network. So till now, all the 6 users who have already filed the application to be registered as an investor has been approved by user number 1 acting on behalf of the company. And then all the 6 users can enter into the listing process as a qualified investor now. And then let's see how to revoke a investor from the group of investors as user number 1 who is qualified to have the approval right to approve certain user to become the investor, and then such user also have the authority to remove certain user from the qualified investors group. For example, we want to remove user number 4 from the qualified investors group, and then we can click this button as remove or revoke. We confirm, and then we can see that currently the state of user number 4 has been changed into revoked, which means that this user cannot attend the following listing process as a qualified investor anymore. If we think that all the information disclosed to the company or to the public is satisfied and qualified to be an investor, and then we can also approve this user to become a qualified investor again. So let's see. Therefore, we can see that the state of user number 4 has changed back into approved again. As a verifier to a specific company, this verifier have the authority and also have the liability or duty to ensure that each and every investors in the group of investors is satisfy the legal requirements of the governing laws in connection with or with respect to the real name check and the verification, or in respect of anti-money laundering, etc. Okay, so for the next step, let's see how to place a sell order or an initial offer order on behalf of the company. And we can see that currently there have 6 different sell order has been listed on the orders list. And we can see that this is created already, and the paid-in value of this order is $100,000, and the price for this order is $3 per share, which is higher than the threshold of floor price we have defined in the list rules in a shareholders agreement. And the expired date means that only before this deadline that a investor may provide a limited buy order so as to make the deal done. And we can have a look about the current on-chain time. It is December 31, so it's still before this deadline. Okay, and the voting weight is 100%, which has been defined by the voting rule. And so we can add some other sell order on behalf of the company to issue new share in the class of number 4. You know that as a chairman of the company, of course, the user want the initial offer price can be much more higher than the current listing price. So the next order with the execution hours we can set as 24 hours. So that deadline will be commenced from the current time. And the sequence of listing rule is 1024, just like the others, because we only have one voting rule now. And paid in amount of the sell order we set as 100,000 also. And price, we can set it a little higher than the previous one. For example, we set $3.8 per share. And then we can click offer. So we can see that there will be a new sell order with a new ask price to be listed on the bulletin. So there's a new one that the price is $3.8 per share. So we can list it more on sell order with the different ask price one by one. Of course, depending on the situation of the market, whether the sell order has been acquired by the specific investors very quickly. If it was acquired by the investors very quickly, and then it indicates that the demand of purchase or the long position is very strong, so we can raise the initial offer price a little higher than previous ones. So next step, let's see how to place a limited buy order to the company so as to make the deal done, or make the system to automatically match the orders and fill in a proper or suitable selling order with a suitable ask price to the buy order with a limited bid price. So let's switch to an external investor, for example, user number 5. And then suppose that this new investor would like to enter into this company and make a buy order according to the initial offer sell order that has been provided by the company. And suppose that user number 5 would like to acquire $250,000 amount, and we would like to set the bid price for this limited buy order as, for example, 3.25, and then we would like to pay the consideration together with this buy order, and then the system will automatically make the deal closed by paying this certain amount of Ethereum to the seller's deposit accounts that has been prepared by the company, and then we'll update the register of shares from the holder's name as a previous shareholder to the current investor. So let's see that how to conduct this action. And first we need to check how much Ethereum we need to input in this column as a consideration. And this button marked with the question mark also link with a API that enable the system to automatically calculate the equivalent value of amount in Ethereum that equal to the amount that calculated based on the paid-in amount multiplied this limited bid price as a $3.25 per share. So this is the total amount that the investor needs to pay for consideration. And actually, we will raise some amount so as to ensure this will not enough to pay for the consideration, just because the fluctuation of the exchange rate of Ethereum to US dollars. So let's raise for 1000 GWei. And then let's click buy button to see that how the system automatically matching all the orders together, and so as to make the deal done and closed, and how to update the register of shares accordingly. And then also will leave the balance amount of this buy order to the deposit of investors, prepared for the investor. Or in much more detail, that in case there's any balance left from this limited buy order, and then such balance will be automatically saved into the deposit amount that the company prepared for the investors. And then the investors may pick up the balance amount from the company accordingly. So let's click confirm. And we can see that some of the listing orders of sales has been removed from this list, which means that those sale order has been closed as per the buy order provided by user number 5. And let's check whether there will be some change in the register of shares. And here we can see that there are some new shares has already been issued under the class number 4, and the sequence was assigned by the system as 004, 005, 006, and 007. And the shareholder of those shares actually are all user number 5. And we can see that the par value and paid value actually is different. For the lowest issue price, for example, this one, the price of par and paid is $3 per share, and the amount $100,000, which means this certificate of contribution or this equity share comes from the sale order that user number 1 used to prepare listed on the list of orders by the ask price of $3 per share, and the total amount is $100,000. And this sale order has been filled into the buy order with the ask price of $3. So this equity share was generated from the order that established by the sale order of $3 per share. And now we can see that there is some changes in the orders list. Some sequence of order has been removed from this orders list. For example, the sale order numbered as 001 and 002 has been removed. And also, the amount of sale order numbered as 003 has been deducted from the original figure of $100,000 in total into the current amount as $50,000 in total, which means that those sale order has already been filled into the buy order that has been provided by user number 5. And then the system has matched all those sell orders with the buy orders, or we can say that fill in the buy order with the satisfied sell order so as to form a deal and make the deal done. Let's switch to the register of shares to see what has happened in the shareholding structure of the subject company. And we can see that currently there are 3 different equity shares has been issued to user number 5. and that is equity share numbered as 005 to 007. And we can see that the issue price of a share numbered as 007 is $3 per share, which comes from the sale order that created by user number 1 as the chairman of the board. This means that all the amount of the sale order that with the specific ask price of $3 per share has been filled into the purchase order of user number 5. So the entire sale order has been filled into the purchase order. And then we can see that of this share, the issue price of which is 3.2. And this comes from the sale order created by user number 1 as chairman of the board with the asking price of 3.2. Well, not the entire amount of the sale order has been filled into the buy order. Only 50,000 amount has been filled in because there is a amount limitation specified in the buy order of user number 5. And the total amount of that buy order is 250,000 in total. Therefore, the original sale order priced with asking price of 3.2 has been split into two parts. And one part was filled into the buy order to form and close the deal, and there is a balance amount of $50,000 has been left in the original sale order and still listed in the book of orders. So that's all we have introduced to issue new shares by means of listing. And then let's switch back to the list of orders and to see how to sell out a specific equity shares that has been obtained through the process of listing. And now we are using user number 5, and currently for user number 5 has holding 3 different equity shares we have obtained through the listing process of issue new shares. And let's see whether we can transfer out shares that has been obtained from the listing process. So we shall select another choice as sale order, which means that we are using user number 5 to create a sale order to be listed on the list of orders or on the books of orders. And then the first attribute refers to the exercise hours that are available for potential investors to purchase. And then we can input some number. For example, 24 represent 1 day's period for the investors to purchase. And then the next attribute refers to the sequence of listing rule. And we have introduced that there is only one available listing rule exists in the shareholders agreement, the number of which is 1024. And we can input the paid amount of the share order, and we can input, for example, $150,000 as the total amount to this specific sale order. And the price, of course, as an investor, we would like to earn some money. So this price shall be slightly higher than the issue price of the specific equity shares. And for this time, we input $4 per share. And then, as we have introduced, according to the listing rule numbered as 1024, there is a lock dates that's in the attribute of the listing rule, which means that as a shareholder, the investor need to hold in hand for at least 1 day for those equity shares that obtained from the listing process. And currently, the on-chain time has not been changed, which means that obviously the equity shares acquired by user number 5 has not satisfied the lock days requirements that has been set out by the listing rule. So let's have a try whether this sale order can be accepted by the system and can be listed on the bulletin. And let's click sell, and then MetaMask will pop up, so we confirm, and then there's no change. So In the back end, the system was designed that will accept such kind of sell order, but due to the period of lockup has not been satisfied, so this new order will not be listed on the orders list that prepared in this panel. Therefore, we need to push forward our testing net for maybe 1 day so that user number 5 can list his shares on board. So let's enter the command to push forward for 1 day's time on the testing net, and then mine another new block to write down the new time. And then let's switch back and we can have a look about the online time currently. The on-chain time has been pushed forward for 1 day, so the current on-chain time is 2024 January the 1st. So let's try again to list this sell order on the list of orders. Now let's click sell and then confirm. And then for this time, we can see that there are 2 new lines was appended to the orders list, sequence number of which are 008 and 009. Why there are 2 different sell order was listed? Because there are 2 shares with different issue price that has been added into the sell order, so the system will automatically split one sales orders command or instruction into 2 and create 2 different sell order and append those sell order to the orders list. Therefore, we can see that user number 5 have already sold out such a number of equity shares that he has already obtained from the listing process. And then we change into another user that has been approved by the director as a qualified investor to the listing process of this company. For example, we can change to user number 6, and then we'll try to get some sell order from this list, trying to buy some sell order. So for this time, we will select buy order and we will input the amount that user number 6 would like to obtain. For example, the total number we can set out as 500,000. We can set the price for this limited buy order as $4 per share, and the consideration means that how much Ethereum that user number 5 and user number 6 needs to pay to the company as a deposit for the buy order that has been set out right now. And we can click this button to let the system calculate for us, and we can copy it and then paste the figure here and raise for some small amount to ensure the system will accept the amount. In case the amount we input here is less than the value that US dollars represent, and then the system will deny to accept such kind of buy order because the buy order has not enough deposit. So let's click buy and can see what kind of changes will occur for this time. And then when we confirm, so for this time, we can see that all the orders has been removed from this list, which means that the system have already automatically matched all the sell order that satisfy the condition of buy order that user number 6 provided. Since user number 6 has provided a order amount to 500,000 and with a pretty high price to acquire those potential equities on sale, and then the system automatically match and done all the deals or fill all the sales order on list to the buy order that user number 6 has been provided. So let's switch to the register of shares and to see the current shareholding structure of the company. And then we can see that there are several different shares has been listed here, and the shareholder is user number 6. Of issue price of the new share was $4 as provided by user number 6, and the amount is 100,000 US dollars. And for this one is 50,000. And let's switch to the home page of this company to see that how much deposit belongs to user number 6 as a balance to that buy order that provided by user number 6 right now. And we can see that there are quite a lot of Ethereum has been deemed as balance to this buy order. And you may have some questions why there are so many available sell order on that orders list, but in the final result, only 2 orders has been closed or has been filled into the buy order. That's because some of the orders has been expired. You may remember that we have pushed forward 1 day in our testing blockchain network. Therefore, the previous sell order that has been created by the chairman of the board for issue new shares has already expired, because the available period of time set out in those orders are also 1 day. Therefore, here we left quite a lot amount of Ethereum for user number 6 after the closing of the buy order, or after closing of the limited buy order that user number 6 provided to the system. Well, of course, we can pick up those balance amount of Ethereum back to the account of user number 6. And the other question is that why we set up such kind of so complicated mechanism to pick up the balance amount from the company. Why we just directly transfer back the balance amount to the buyer? Because this kind of arrangement can effectively defend the re-enter attack that may be encountered by the company. And you may see that there are still some balance available in the deposits account of this company. And these figures actually refers to the consideration amount of Ethereum that belongs to user number 5 as the seller of the subject equity shares that has been transferred. So we can switch to user number 5 and to see how much balance belongs to this user in the deposit accounts of the company. And we can click this button to see, yes, there are more than 265 Ethereum that belongs to user number 5. Actually, this is the consideration for transfer out the equity shares that this user used to invest in. So let's click this button with a little peak mark, and then user number 5 can pick up the balance amount of Ethereum from the company accordingly. And now we can see that all the deposits has been collected, has been picked up by user number 5, and we can have a look up of the user number 5's balance in the user information panel. Here we can see the balance amount of the user number 5, which has been added for more than 265 Ethereum as a new amount. So that's all. We have presented all the procedures for users to issue new share by means of listing or transfer the equity share by listing method. And we also introduced the commercial and the legal meaning of the attributes in the listing rule, and how does all the attributes of the listing rule regulate the legal behaviors that will occur in the process of listing. So much for today. Thank you. Bye-bye.